Hello and welcome to my sixth book critique. My featured text is called Stone Soup. This book tells of a tale of three soldiers who, tired and hungry from war, plod down the road. They come upon a village and ask the townspeople if they could spare a bite to eat or a place to rest. The villagers do not quite trust the strange men and say they do not have anything to give, even though that is untrue. The soldiers decide to teach the townspeople how to make stone soup and begin by asking for a pot, some stones, and a fire. The villagers are amazed at the thought of soup made from stones and gladly comply with the requests. The soldiers continue by telling the people that the soup would be much better with carrots, potatoes, meat, and other ingredients, but do not ask the villagers for them as they have already said there is none. However, the people are so intrigued, they quickly gather the needed supplies, and before long an enormous meal has been prepared. They all eat together, followed by dancing, and at the end of the night the soldiers are all given a place to sleep. I chose this book because it teaches children not to become angry when they are not given what they want, but rather to make the best of a situation, start small, and always share with others. The first lesson I created for this book is a first grade science lesson. And in this lesson, students will read the book and then the teacher will ask them what vegetables they remember being added to the soup. The students should work together to try and recall the answers. And then the teacher will ask the students to tell the difference between two vegetables that were given as answers. The teacher will then explain that there are different types of vegetables and that they can be categorized according to their characteristics. Students will research information on vegetables through the internet and or books and should take notes on each one, noting their color, what type they are, and other characteristics. The teacher will then start a Google Slides presentation, and the students should use their notes to add different vegetables to each category, and they should put words and pictures and any other information about the vegetable that they're adding. The teacher should choose categories that are appropriate to their students' level of knowledge. So they should choose categories that are difficult for students that are more advanced, or easier categories for students that are just beginning, depending on their class. When the slides are complete, the students will be split into groups, and each group will be assigned slides to present to the rest of the class. So the whole class will present the whole PowerPoint, but only a few students will present each. Only a few students will present each slide. Here's an example of a PowerPoint that I created. I only created 3 slides just to start it off. The first one I put leafy vegetables, so here's 2 vegetables that students could add. The first one's kale and then lettuce. And they could just put whatever information about it they want, anything that they found in their research. The second one is veggies with seeds inside. So again, I just added 2 as an example. And then the last one I put would be more for beginner students, which is just red vegetables. So you could do a bunch of different colors or whatever the teacher thinks is appropriate. The next lesson that I created for this book is a 4th grade social studies lesson. And in this lesson, the students will read the book, and the teacher will ask them what war they think the soldiers in the book were fighting in. Students should discuss their answers with each other, and the teacher should observe to see what wars the students know about. The teacher will then ask the students if they know how the United States became a nation, and should explain it was through the Revolutionary War and began with the 13 colonies. Students will then be put into groups of 4 or 5, and the colonies will be divided between the groups. The groups will research their colonies, and they should take a lot of notes on all of the colonies that they are given. The groups will then build trifolds, or be given trifolds, and they will build them and put information about their colonies. They should include information such as who the leaders were, what their flags looked like, the dates they were formed, and other types of things like that. After they're complete, the groups will present them to their classmates, and following the presentations, the trifolds should be placed around the classroom just to show off all the work the students did on them. The next book I read is called Fish Eyes, a book you can count on. And in this colorful counting book, the reader pretends to be a fish swimming in the sea. It covers the different parts of a fish, including scales, fins, and tails, and then the fish swims along and counts all the different fish it sees. What makes this book different from other number books is that for each number, the fish adds himself. So the fish begins by seeing one green fish and then states 1 fish plus himself makes 2. When he sees 2 jumping fish, he adds himself again to make 3. And this pattern continues all the way to 10, making it a great book for beginner counters. The third book I read is The Little Red Hen, which is about a hen who is friends with a pig, a duck, and a cat. She finds some seeds and decides to plant them, and when she asks her friends if they will help her plant the seeds, they all say no. After the seeds grow into wheat, she asks her friends if they will help her cut it, but again they all say no. This continues until the hen has made a loaf of bread from the wheat seeds, after completing several tasks with no help from her friends. When she asks if they will help her eat it, they all say yes. However, since she has done all the work, she shares it only with her little chicks. Next is Lon Popo, which is an interesting version of Little Red Riding Hood. In this story, there are 3 sisters who live with their mother. The mother one day leaves to visit the grandmother, and while she is away, a wolf decides to visit the 3 little girls disguised as their grandmother. The wolf tricks the children and plans on eating them until one of them realizes what is going on and lures the wolf outside where the 3 children climb a tree. They trick the wolf into getting into a basket and then they pull him up, or they tell him they will pull him up to join them in the tree, but they really let the basket fall and that leaves the wolf dead. Finally, I read a book called Radiant Child, which describes the life of an artist named Jean-Michel Basquiat. It begins when he is a young boy in Brooklyn and tells how he developed his love and passion for art. And he eventually moves to Manhattan and becomes a famous artist. Thanks for watching.